Review 82 talks about adding integers. And the tricky part with this, if you haven't seen it before, is adding negatives and positives together, and negatives for that matter. So the first part, we're going to use a number line to help us out. And what you want to remember is that if you split a number line in half, this is the direction for negative numbers. This is the direction for positive numbers. So if you're headed to the right, you're doing something with a positive number. If you're headed to the left, you're doing something with a negative number. So in number 1, it says 3 plus 2. So I start off at 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go to the right because that's the direction, positive direction. I'm going to go 2 places. 1, 2. So my answer for 3 plus 2 is 5. Now, obviously, you most likely knew that already because we know how to add our numbers. But we want to know how to do it so that when we get to the negative ones, it's not too tricky. So in number 2, we have 6. So we start off at positive 6. And then we add on a positive 4. So we're going to move right 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. So our answer for 6 plus 4 is 10. In number 3, we get some negative numbers. So we start with negative 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to add on a negative 1. If I'm adding negative, that means I'm going to the left because that's the direction negative is. So negative 4 plus negative 1 is negative 5. In number 4, we start off again at negative 4. And then we're going to add on top of that a negative 8. Well, adding a negative means I'm going to the left because that's the direction negative is. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I end up with negative 12. Negative 4 plus negative 8 is negative 12. In number 5, I start off at positive 4, and then I add on a negative 1. So from this positive 4, I'm going to move to the left towards the negative 1 place. So I end up with negative 3. Or excuse me, positive 3. In number 6, I start at negative 6. And I move plus 8. So a positive 8 means to the right 8 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my answer is positive 2. Negative 6 plus positive 8 is positive 2. In number 7, I have negative 7 that I start off at. And then I'm adding on positive 3. Positive 3 means to the right 3 places. So I end up at negative 4. In number 8, I start off at negative 5. I add on positive 8. That means go to the right 8 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my final answer is positive 3. In number 9, I start at positive 3. I add on positive 5, so I move to the right 5 places. So my answer is positive 8. Number 10, I start at -3, and I'm going to add on -5. That means move to the left 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my answer is -8. In number 11, I start at +3, and then I add on -5. That means move to the left 5 places. So I end up with -2. And for number 12, I start off at -3. I move to the right 5 places because I'm adding a +5. Oops. Let's start off at -3, not -2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places makes a +2. For numbers 13 through 30, you can use the number line just like we've done through 1 through 12. However, there's another trick to doing this, and I want to show you that in case that one clicks with your brain better. And this is the song to the tune of Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And it's a memory trick of how to add integers. So it goes, same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. Keep the sign of the higher number, then it'll be exact. And what that means is if you have the same sign, so for instance, if you have -6 plus -8, you add the two, ignoring the signs, so 6 plus 8 is 14, and then you keep whatever sign they both had, which was negative. So -6 plus -8 is -14. Again, if you had -3 plus -2, they have the same sign, so you add just the numbers, ignoring the signs. 3 and 2 is 5. They were both negative, so your answer is negative. The second part of the song says different signs subtract. So if you have different signs on the numbers, take the two numbers and subtract them, the big one minus the small one. So if I have -6 plus 8, now I have two different signs. And ignoring the signs on the numbers, I look at which one's bigger. So 8 and 6. So I'm going to call this 8 minus 6, which is 2. And then the bigger of the two numbers, again, ignoring the sign, is the 8. 8's bigger than 6. 8 was positive, so -8 plus 6 is +2. If I had it the other way, and I had 6 plus -8, again, I'd still do 8 minus 6, which is 2. And then looking at the numbers, the 8 is bigger than the 6. Now I know that -8 is not bigger than 6, but just looking at the numbers, 8 is bigger than 6. So then the sign on 8 was negative. So in this case, our answer would be negative. So that's what it means when it says different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the higher number. So whichever number is higher, that's the sign you put on your answer. So one more time. Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. Keep the sign of the higher number, then it'll be exact. So doing that trick through 13 through 30, I have the same sign, so I add them. So 6 plus 4 is 10. I keep what sign was on them. It was negative, so my answer is -10. Different signs subtract. So I take 7 minus 2, which is 5. 7's the larger number and it's positive, so my answer is positive. I have the same sign in number 15, -1 plus -6. So I add the numbers, 6 plus 1 is 7, and I keep the sign that they had, which was negative, so my answer is -7. In number 16, I have different signs, so I subtract the numbers. 9 minus 2 is 7. 9 is the larger number, so it was positive, so my answer is positive. In number 17, I have the same sign, so negative 6, negative 6. So 6 plus 6 is 12, and then I keep the sign that they both had, which was negative. So negative 6 plus negative 6 is negative 12. 13 plus 3, they're the same sign. So 13 plus 3 is 16. I keep the sign that they both were, which is positive, so my answer is positive. Negative 14 and negative 5 are both negative, so I add the numbers. 14 plus 5 is 19, and they are both negative, so my answer is negative. In number 20, I have opposite signs, so I take just the numbers 12 and 5 and I subtract them. 12 minus 5 is 7, and then 12 is the larger number, and its sign is negative, so my answer is negative. In number 21, I have opposite signs, so I subtract them. 9 minus 9 is 0. And again, on review 81, we talked about that when you add opposites, so negative 9 and 9 are opposites, you end up with 0. Same thing in number 22, I have opposites, 18 and negative 18. They cancel each other out, and I get 0. 18 minus 18 is 0. And you don't have a positive or a negative 0. 0 is just 0. 23, I have 0 and negative 4. So 0 minus 4 is negative 4, basically. 6 plus 0 is 6. 15 and negative 15, again, those are opposites. They cancel out. Negative 12 plus 0 is negative 12. Negative 9 plus 10, they're opposite signs. So 10 minus 9 is 1. 10's the larger number, so it's positive, so my answer is positive. 12 minus 11 are opposite signs. 12 minus, or plus or minus 11, excuse me. 12 minus 11 is 1. 12 is my larger number, and it's positive, so my answer is positive. And then we have the reverse situation in 29, negative 12 plus 11. So I'm going to subtract them since they're opposite signs. 12 minus 11 is 1. And 12 is the larger number, and it has a negative sign, so my answer is negative. And the last one, 2 plus negative 10, they're opposite signs, so I subtract. 8 minus 2 is, or excuse me, 10 minus 2 is 8. And 10's the larger number, and it's negative, so my answer is negative. So one last time. Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. Keep the sign of the higher number, then it'll be exact.